going to give a little narrative. This is how I imagine the events that took place at that pool. Among the crowds of afflicted people that Jesus sees this day in Jerusalem, the man that Jesus fixes his eyes upon is a cripple and a seriously sinful man, not an ideal candidate for a miracle. This man, I'll call him Thomas, has been an invalid for 38 years, the greatest part of his life. If anything defines him, it is his paralysis. His legs having been paralyzed so long, they are thin, withered, atrophied. There was no strength in them at all. Some invalids became beggars so they can eke out a living. Others engage in some trade if they have the strength and manual dexterity to do so. But Thomas spends his days lying on a mat beside the public pool, waiting, useless, depressed. In the morning, someone carries him to the pool. In the evening, someone carries him home. The pool of Bethesda is just north of the temple walls. It consists of two pools fed by springs and a runoff. The southern pool is shallow enough to wade in. Around the sides of the pool are tall columns that support a porch to make it bearable during the long, hot summer days. Pilgrims to Jerusalem come to the pool to perform ablutions, acts of ceremonial cleansing, but most of the people at the pool this day are invalids, blind, lame, paralyzed. They gather because an angel will sometimes stir up the waters. The first invalid who can get into the waters when it's stirred will be healed. But there are scores, sometimes hundreds of the sick and lame waiting for such an occurrence. Many are regulars, each in his or her own spot. Many in the shade, somewhat back from the edge of the pool. On the irregular occasions when the water bubbles up, there's a mad rush to get in. Thomas is never first, not even close, because he is crippled. He needs help to move, and there's no one to help him, no friend to intervene and get him into the waters. So though he comes day after day, Thomas is never healed. On this particular day, as part of a divine appointment, Jesus leaves the temple and strides down to the pool of Bethesda. He has been there before, but today he's looking for someone, the one his Father will point out to him. He approaches. Looks Thomas smooth in the eye. Do you want to get well? What a foolish question. Of course, a sick man wants to be healed. But Jesus asks it anyway. There are people, whose lives are so focused on their illness or their problem that though they say they want to be freed from it, the attention they get, the pity they receive from others, it conspires within them, so they really don't want to get well at all. By this question, Jesus is seeking to engage Thomas in conversation. He is probing to see if Thomas has faith for healing. But it's pretty clear that faith isn't really there. Sir, Thomas says to Jesus, I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else comes down ahead of me. Oh, woe is me. This is my sad story. The reason I'm not healed isn't my fault. Nobody will help me. It's their fault. Jesus looked deep into Thomas's soul. I imagine he doesn't see great worth. He doesn't see a man facing his illness with courage. He doesn't even see a basically good person. Rather, Jesus sees an evil, chronic sin that is at the root of his illness. Thomas is a miserable, old, selfish sinner who has no future, no hope, except for Jesus. Jesus looks at him, straightens up to his full height, and with a full voice, full of the authority of God, says, "Get up! Pick up your mat and walk!" Because if you lay there, you stay there.